Audra here. So who else has spring fever? We had 3 whole weeks of wintertime and the weather is back to being splendid. We're in the 50s and 60s right now. Now they say, watch that 10-day forecast, 7-day forecast, whatever you've got. And they're screaming that this Saturday, expect rain and expect temperatures to be 5 to 10 degrees lower. Well, that's cool. I'll take 45, no problem. I'm still starting seeds. So I've been starting some seeds, and I want to show you guys. So this is the first week of March, and this is when I like to get my brassica family started. Things like cabbage. So I've got two types of cabbage here I want to get started today. I've got a green one and a purple one. Now, I don't want to get in a hurry and be like, I'm planting all of the cabbage right now. So tempting, right? Like, just get it planted, get it started. The green thumb is itching. But the problem is, if you start it all right now, you're going to end up with a crop that's ready all right now at the very end of the season. And also, what if you end up with issues? Like, what if I have stem rot? What if I have my entire crop gets hit by bugs or pests, or it dies off, or I forget to water and they all die? So, there's different things I have to be thinking of. So, knowing that my family loves cabbage, like I literally was doing the math the other day, I need to grow this year about 50 cabbages. We use cabbage literally about once a week. So honestly, 52 cabbages? So I need to grow anywhere between 50 and 75. Now, why 75? Well, I'd like to have fermented cabbage put away, sauerkraut. I like to have that put away. I like things like that. And sometimes, like if we have company over, I'm going to use more than one cabbage, depending on what's going on. So that's a lot of cabbages, right? And my growing season here in Idaho here, we start our seeds now. You could have started in February. It seems like if I start in February, the soil is just never quite ready in the garden. And I end up with plants that are unhappy. So I've switched to just starting my seedlings 5 different weeks. I start the first week of March. Then I go to the third week of March. Then the same thing in April. So it's every other week. Every 2 weeks I'm planting clear through May. Now with cabbages here, they've got us sowing for this one clear into June. And honestly, with cabbage, it's hardy enough that I can, I just did cabbage. And cabbage, I just did cauliflower. And with cauliflower, the last time I'll plant for a spring-summer harvest is the very first week of May. I don't like to grow any more after that because they just have such a hard time in our heat. They end up bolting and they just don't want to grow. But I can plant in the fall for a fall crop. Now moving on to cabbage, I can actually plant about to the middle week of May, that third week of May. True, I could probably start some the first week of June, and that's again watching that forecast. Are we having a cooler year or not? It'd be nice if we had the magic ball and we could look way into the future, but we don't. So kind of keeping an eye on that 10-day forecast, things like that. But I am going to get some of them started today. Now, as much as I would love to start all of them all at once, I want to succession plant. I want to plan for failure of my seedlings. I want to plan for failure of my crops in my garden. And I also don't want to have that headache of everything is ready to go all at the same time out of the garden. And I'm in this mad frenzy trying to get it put up. Where am I going to put it away? All at the same time. So by planting every 2 weeks, I'm extending my growth and I'm extending my harvest. So when I've got something that's ready to go, I have one that's getting there and I have some that I've got a little bit longer. So I can extend that amount of time. So I've got 2 different ones here. I have the red cabbage. This is from Seeds of Change. I absolutely love the Seeds of Change company. I've been using them for over 10 years. Phenomenal company. Then this one is the Early Golden Acre Green Cabbage. It is by the American Seed Company. Again, this is a seed company I've used for over 10 years. Yeah, I've been using them. I can't say that they're not a favorite I prefer supporting these guys, but I've used these guys as well, obviously. So anyway, we've got our packs here. The soil is already pre-dampened very, very well. I made sure, put my finger in there, moved the soil around, checked for dry soil, made sure it was nice and wet. When you have your tray in front of you, it's so easy to be like, well, I'm going to do this one and this one. And it's so easy to get ahead of yourself. And the next thing you know, you got a whole tray of one thing. We don't want to do that. But because I know that my family uses so much cabbage, just for today, I'm going to start these packs. So each pack here has 4 cells. These are pony packs. I'm going to plant 2 of them with the green cabbage and 2 with the purple cabbage. Now what? That's what? 4, 8, 12. That's 16 plants. Actually, what I'm going to do is take my handy dandy skewer stick. I love these for starting seeds. I'm going to take it and I'm going to create a hole on 2 sides, 2 separate sides in each cell of my pony pack, creating 8 different spots to put seedlings. The nice thing about these is you can separate them when they get to about, once they've emerged and they've got their true leaves, and they're about 4 to 5 weeks old, roughly, somewhere in there, I will either decide to let them continue growing and then put them in the garden, or sometimes I will very carefully separate the 2 in here, and it's called up potting. Put them in a new pot and let them get a little bit bigger. But I do not plant 2 cabbages. Like, I don't take the cell out and just plop both of them into the garden. Either way, I'm going to be separating these babies so that they can be big cabbages by the end of the year. Now, I know that cabbages have a very tiny seed. They're literally the tiny size of my end of my skewer stick. And the idea is you plant the seedling 2 to 3 times its depth. So I'm just going to go up to where this kind of right in there, and I'm just going to make my little holes. I'm not going super deep. We don't want to go so deep that the seedling has no chance at reaching for that sunlight. These guys do not necessarily need any heat. So even though these guys are getting started in the greenhouse, or even when I started in my house, I often didn't use heat. Yes, I have lights, and my lighting I have is close to 6,000 or 6,500 K as possible. The bare minimum you would want to go on your light is 4,000. They need that strength of light. Anyway, so in my greenhouse I have the lights. I have fluorescent and I have LEDs. I've got different ones. The LEDs I keep about 8 inches away from my seedlings, because if they're within 2 inches, it actually fries the seedlings. It just wipes them out. And then the non-LEDs, they can be within 2 inches of the seedlings. So I've got different ones in my greenhouse. If you're growing in your house, cool. Put them, like, if you want to hurry this process up, besides being in a sunny window, you could also put them on top of a refrigerator or a freezer where it's got some heat, and it'll actually kind of encourage them to germinate a little bit quicker. And then just put them in a sunny window. And as they emerge, if you don't have a light, that they can end up getting leggy and growing really tall, and you don't want that. So anyway, if you have a south-facing window, it's the best type. Put your seed, and then move them each day. Rotate your planter around so that they have to kind of do this, and they have to strengthen up their stalk, that stem. And it kind of helps keep the legginess from being so overwhelming on these guys. So anyway, pretty sure I've got my holes formed in these. So I'm going to go ahead and get these guys planted. But I'm only putting 1 in each of these. There we go. 2. So this is going to give me a lot more today than if I just planted 1 per cell. By doing 2 per cell, I'm going to have more. Now, at this rate, I'll end up with more cabbages. Actually, it'll put me roughly about where I need to be, because cabbages, there's going to be loss. The brassica family in general, they attract aphids and the white moth. And the white moth lays a caterpillar that just, the eggs and then the caterpillar, it will wipe out your crop. So you're going to want to have some sort of a cover for your crop. If you can, consider bug netting, or like go to the store, get some tooling, stuff like that, and cover your plants. Make sure they can get the sunlight. But otherwise, you're going to lose a good section of your crop to aphids and the white moth. So anyway, these seedlings are so tiny. Gotta try to make sure I keep track. These are the purple ones, or the red ones. I'm just gonna put them in there. I'm not gonna tamp them down really, but just gonna get them in their little seed cells. And of course, they never go right in the hole where you want them to, right? And the nice thing about this, so the ones here from Seeds of Change, if I plant them in my garden in a row, not too close to any other brassicas and not too close to any other cabbages, my goal is to actually save seeds from these guys. I'll pick the best looking, healthiest plant and I'll save seeds from that plant and be able to have some for next year, because this package here was, oh gosh, this is going to average 3 to 5 depending on which nursery you go to get these seeds. So anyway, I'm just going to let my best plant grow, set seed, and then I'll harvest my seeds. And that's the nice thing, because it's not a hybrid. I think I just put some in the same one. Anyway, because it's not a hybrid, I can save seeds from it. It's an heirloom variety, non-hybrid. I can save seeds and regrow. We actually prefer the purple cabbage here at our house. It's actually a little bit healthier for you. It's got more nutrition. The nutrient value is higher in plants that are purples or reds. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those down in there. Just like that. And I love these little skewers because they're perfect at just kind of tapping these seeds in where they need to be. Now, it's so tempting and it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what kind of way that you're marking your seedlings, you're labeling. Just make sure that it's some way that's not going to end up washing off. It's so tempting when you have these ones or whatever it is to use a pen or a marker. But the problem with that is they fade and they wash off. I always use the number 2 pencil. It's the old standby. We've been using it for decades, right? Doesn't wash off. It's perfect. I actually prefer to use these popsicle sticks. It's just my preference. I have these. I usually cut them in half because I don't need that huge thing sticking out of the soil. I just need a little bit. So I'm just going to write on it what it is, and I'll label it. And then I'll do the same thing for the green. Okay, so I don't need to bore you to death while you watch me plant the green ones. I'm just going to tell you the basics. So after I've got these guys planted, I'm going to go put them in the greenhouse, or if I put them in the house, whatever it is. I'm not going to water them today. They've had enough water in here. This is nice and moist. I am just going to go put them in the greenhouse. These guys are not going to be on a heat mat, and right now they're not under lights. They don't need lights to germinate yet. They're not that type of a variety. Once they've popped up and they've got their leaves, they're going to be under light. But for now, they don't need light. They're just going to be germinating. As soon as they germinate, then they'll get light. But they're just going to go in the greenhouse. They're not going to get watered today. Tomorrow, I'll check to see how moist they are. Because our days are so warm, the greenhouse is over 100 with the doors and windows closed. So, got to be watching, make sure it doesn't dry out. But they'll be getting watered. Right now, it's just plain water, nothing special. As soon as they pop up and they've germinated, that's when I shake and I give them my special water. So besides having fertilizer in here with their potting or with the mix, the seed mix, I have my handy dandy waterer, and in that I add so it's 1 gallon. So in 1 gallon, 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt, 2 tablespoons of fish emulsion, 2 tablespoons of kelp, and 2 bags of chamomile tea, and you steep all of that in there. So why? Okay, the chamomile tea is going to help prevent stem rot, which is one of the #1 killers of our seedlings. Stem rot happens. If you have stem rot, your plant is toast. It's not coming back from that. So to prevent it, chamomile tea. Easy, easy, easy. Go to the dollar store, get a pack of tea. Even the regular store, it's not that expensive. Now the Epsom salt. Oh my gosh, salt, whatever. You're after the minerals in it, and you're only adding 2 tablespoons. You're going to have to do a lot more than that to kill your plants. They're going to absolutely go crazy for the minerals in the Epsom salt. And then the fish emulsion and the kelp is just added nutrition, added vitamins that these plants are going to thrive with. You're going to have healthy, robust plants that grow like crazy. Maybe I need it for the cat. What are you doing? Everybody can see you. So anyway, that is the basics. I'm not going to use a heat mat. They're just going to go in the greenhouse. You can use a heat mat. It definitely works. Put them on top of a fridge or a freezer. Use the heat that you've got. You have that option. Get down, please. Thank you. Brownie wanted to help. But yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Consider hitting that thumbs up or thumbs down button, whatever you want to do. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.